On today's episode, our special guest is Andrew Kayvanfar, VP of Engineering at Camir Plus Athelis, where he leads engineering efforts across infrastructure, security, revenue cycle management, and EHR products. He graduated from the University of Pennsylvania with a degree in bioengineering and has an extensive background spanning startups and scaled enterprises at Upstart and Square. Andrew brings over 15 years of experience developing high-performing engineering organizations and delivering reliable, secure platforms at scale. He's also an LP in Story Ventures, investor via Gaingels, and an angel investor, and has also been an advisor in fintech startups. Having parents both in the healthcare field, he's passionate about transforming healthcare through technology and empowering teams to ship products that drive meaningful outcomes for patients and providers. Andrew, thanks for joining us today.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, excited to just chit-chat about engineering with you today. Can you walk us through what kind of led you to joining Camir?
Sure. This was definitely some serendipity. I think I have always had a passion for healthcare to some degree. I was pre-med in a former life, and then quickly learned that wasn't for me. I think I really liked industry and I guess learning on the job rather than just schooling. But always had that interest. I think my career went into the next most heavily regulated industry for a while, financial services. And just blossomed there, and I gained a lot of domain expertise, and always wanted to somehow find my way back into healthcare. I don't think I knew exactly how I would do it. I had a mentor of mine listen to me talk about this and give me blunt advice at one point of, I don't know why you're looking at opportunities in anything other than healthcare. And that was for sure sobering. But finding Camir was truly serendipity, to use a Barry Diller term, and was just finding something interesting out on the internet. LinkedIn, I think, noticed I had a mutual connection with Dhruv, our CTO, and we got put in touch by that mutual connection, and just over a series of conversations found that this could be a really good fit, and we should both, try it out and enter into this leap of faith together. And now I'm here.
Awesome. Now you're here, leading a lot of our engineering teams. As you may know, engineering culture is often the backbone of high-performing teams. How do you go about prioritizing innovation and team collaboration in an environment that's typically high pressure and very fast in terms of speed?
Yeah, I think our culture definitely is one that at times can be high pressure. I think lots of fast-growing tech companies can feel that way. For me and how I internalize this, I don't think innovation and collaboration are at odds with high pressure. I think that that's having those are how you thrive in high pressure environments. So here at Camir, operating in healthcare, serving small businesses and enterprise, I think for us, reliability and trust matter deeply. And so we try to foster a culture where those ideas can be shared freely, that feedback is normalized. We do those types of things early, and our cross-functional teams and engineering can co-create solutions together. So in our use case, especially in RCM, a lot of the discovery of how to effectively launch a new customer is done by our go-to-market and operations teams, and they're really close collaborators with engineering. And having that partnership, I think, helps us move quickly and launch customers onto our platform in a time frame that is more aligned with our cultural value of speed above all else. But we're a constant work in progress, so I think we're always learning and getting better here. We have some things specifically we've instituted on engineering more recently to help with that. Design reviews and incident reviews and strong postmortem processes, and our writing culture, I think, are maturing more now, and that's really helping us define our engineering culture.
Yeah. You mentioned, the process of launching new customers onto our platforms. How would you say it's different to do that in an environment like a startup compared to your previous companies like Upstart or Square?
Those were different businesses with different go-to-market motions compared to Commure. I would say for Upstart, we were a true consumer SaaS business, and so a lot of our go-to-market was paid social, paid acquisition through online channels, and then eventually uh, direct mail, so like paid physical mail campaigns, and affiliate marketing. So the cost for us to launch or acquire a customer was mostly the marketing expense. For Commure, we are in an industry that's a cobbled together set of solutions sometimes, and so launching a customer onto RCM specifically is them migrating potentially from an old EHR onto ours, or us like learning how to integrate with that EHR, extract information from it to become their biller and do that job well and execute it well. So it requires a lot of discovery, sometimes new features being built that are platform additive for us, and then a hard cutover date where we become someone's effective biller. And I think that's not quite as straightforward as someone standing up a Square POS or taking a loan out from Upstart.
Yeah, absolutely. As a leader, scaling engineering teams can often be a tricky task. What are some of the ways you are looking to scale engineering teams at Commure and Athellis today?
I think for many companies, we just hit different inflection points of how we scale engineering in the same way we think about scaling architectural or engineering systems. I think in both cases, we think about scaling thoughtfully and intentionally, versus like very reactively or in excess of what we actually need. I think we always want to be a company that is a little bit lean, and I think that's just being principled and being like good stewards of the people that have entrusted us with their capital and the responsibility that comes with that. I think we try to optimize for team health, and like long-term viability of the engineering organization. So for us, I think it's a combination of scaling people and our processes both at the same time. We do that by investing in our managers and setting them up for success with leading larger and larger organizations, and having really strong ownership, well-defined charters, so that as we scale, we start to specialize a little more generally. People understand what they're responsible for, and that the processes that govern the old ways of communicating and collaborating don't break down as we get larger and larger.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the unique challenges that you face in building secure, scalable healthcare products, such as EHR systems, that really serve such a wide range of providers and patients across the country?
I think signing up to build in healthcare means that we're always doing a few things at once. We want things to be accurate, correct for clinicians, for front office and back office, and in healthcare institutions, whether it's hospital systems or practices. We're dealing with a lot of organizational or operational complexity, and regulatory compliance. So for us, I think we're always trying to make sure those systems are secure from the get-go, that we protect patient data, that we are accurate because we're dealing with real financial flows and it has real implications for these businesses. And sometimes, even small mistakes not found for a period of time can be hard for some of the businesses that are our customers. So for us, whether we think about uptime, auditability, and security as things that are just not optional is what's helpful. We will make mistakes. I think that's natural in software systems. All companies have incidents. There are issues with all systems. I think the good ones respond well, mitigate well, and also can handle those failure modes well. So for us, that's what we try to do on engineering, have the systems in place that can create this stable foundation for our customers, that we have robust observability around the systems that we own and monitor, that we have privacy by design, and information security. And I think the other challenge is recognizing that usability also matters. I think we would love to be bar raisers in terms of user experience in healthcare and the software solutions that are out there. And we work closely, not just within our engineering product design organization, but with clinicians, to know that we're building the right solutions for them, ones that hopefully can serve them not just where they are today, but where they might be in the future. And sort of one of our mantras here is we're building software with our users, with those clinicians and providers, not for them.
Right. As I'm sure, being in the being as a patient in the healthcare industry today, especially in the US, I'm sure it's, hopefully comes naturally to you to kind of put yourself in their shoes as to what like an ideal software would look like. How do you prioritize like building features when developing these products, but also making sure that you're kind of shaping or playing that role in shaping the product roadmap as well?
That's a really good question. So for me, this actually goes, I'm going to tell like a weird story. It's going to share my age a little bit. My parents are physicians, and Microsoft acquired a large company in the ambient scribe space. And that company's done very well over a period of time. They should be super proud of what they've done. And I remember in the 90s, that company pitching their first like transcription product to my parents' office. And it was definitely all the rage back then. In retrospect, compared to today's standards, it was really not that good. But big things have small beginnings. And I definitely find it, ironic in a good way that now I'm working for a company where we have software in that space, and we have multiple ambient products, and we're competing with a company that has been the leader in the space for a long time. But in terms of how we prioritize or how these things came to be for us, I think there are going to be elements where we've done a lot of research and identified a problem space, and there'll be others where I think our customer base has sort of pushed us in this direction. So for our company, I think our EHR solution is one of those where that was an area where we got pushed into it by our customer base, and we're super happy to serve them with this new product. We also have a really strong forward deployed motion right now in enterprise, and that's where we're co-creating solutions with healthcare systems, and it's another element of how we choose to prioritize. But the real answer is a combination of, I think, both impact and urgency for us. There will always be more work to do than we have time or resources for. I think we rely on information from our customer base and future customers to help drive how we prioritize parts of our roadmap. Internally, we also have frameworks for how we want to ensure the classic bucket in the Eisenhower matrix of important but not urgent still gets attention and worked on. So we are continuing to not just be able to launch customers and handle immediate needs, but handle the future growth aspirations of the company and its customer base. So I would say a combination of those two elements are how we think about prioritizing our work overall.
Mm-hmm. You talk about prioritizing your work overall and just making sure that kind of every aspect of the products are still getting some kind of attention, especially with the rise of AI, data analytics, and digital health solutions. How do you see the engineering kind of organization evolving in this space over the next 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years is a long time. I think we're at a place where the technology is evolving so rapidly. I don't know. I think the list of people who could forecast that far into the future is limited. So I'll try, but preface it with the fact that I don't know how accurate this will be, and X or Twitter will judge me for it over time. But I think we will hopefully see the convergence of, I think, care delivery and like care operations, where what I think that will translate into is hopefully more provider time being spent on patient care and less on administrative care. And I think AI in healthcare will have a large role to play there, and software solutions like ours. And I think we can be part of accelerating that future. And I think that will lead to better patient outcomes, better healthcare outcomes overall, probably more fulfillment for providers, and in a real ideal world, a more efficient healthcare system where the dollars spent on healthcare are more towards quality assurance and outcomes versus fee for service. So I would love for us to be a part of ushering in that wave of transformation in healthcare, especially in the U.S. Right now, I think we are laying the foundation for that, and even having impact in some areas. We do work on connecting clinical systems. We're working on automating revenue cycle. That's a big administrative burden for both SMB practices as well as large healthcare systems. Something as basic as ambient scribes are easy to see the value of. I think there's a lot of hidden elements of healthcare where that work will go less noticed. But I think it is still important, and AI will play a larger and larger role in all aspects of healthcare, I think, whether it's patient-facing or not.
As someone who's worked in both startups and scalable enterprise companies, what advice would you give to engineers that are looking to make an impact in healthcare?
That is also a great question. I think one of the biggest pieces of advice I would have is find a profession, job, whatever, where it aligns with your own value system. I think that is part of being intentional about what you choose to spend time on. The advice I give candidates is recognizing that your job, your professional life is a decent portion of your awake hours. And if you're fortunate enough to be here at Commure, it could even be a larger portion. We all really love what we do, and we're missionaries here. But recognizing that, I think, means that you really want to choose a place where you're spending time on things that align with your value system, whatever they are. So for me, I want to see tangible impact from what I devote my professional life to. I am choosing to spend my time on healthcare. I did not want to leave Earth not having tried to make the impact I want to see here and leave a better place for my kids and future generations. So I think you can spend your time on lots of different things. Finding the one that aligns with your own value system is what's challenging, and I encourage people to be intentional about that choice.
Mm-hmm. At Commure and Athalis, some of our company core values are speed above all else and say yes before no. How do you ensure that the company values are not just a statement, but truly permeate the engineering's team approach when it comes to development?
Great question. I think we're passionate about our values here. I think they're baked into how we hire, build, hold ourselves accountable, and certainly speed above all else, and say yes before no are values that can be provocative. And I think when it comes to speed above all else, and even say yes before no, we have a healthy relationship with our values here at Commure. And for speed above all else, I would say all companies want to move quickly. I don't think we're going to find a company that's going to argue the opposite of that. For us, I don't think this is lip service. I think we, from the top down, really think about how we can move quickly. And I think the naive interpretation of speed above all else is that we just care about going fast. And we do care about that. But not only that, I think it's a false dichotomy to think we're choosing between fast and slow. We're choosing between really fast, or consistently fast and not consistently fast. And what we've learned is that we care about the long-term sustainable velocity of our organization, and not just short-term shortcuts that can have quick wins. And sometimes we make those decisions, but for the most part, we want to ensure we are always moving quickly, that urgency is at the heart of what we do, but also with rigor. So for us, the ways we do that are by ensuring we're thrashing early, that we are responsible and defensible in the choices that we make, so that we are making the right ones for the organization. And as we scale, what we've learned is that the really tough part of scaling the company is not making sure everyone is moving quickly, but ensuring that we're all moving in the same direction. So for us, the instances where we have had to move backwards, or where we have people working on things that are for sure important, but sometimes orthogonal to the stated direction of the company at that point in time, are what our hindrances to our value of speed is above all else. And so what we're working on is ensuring urgency through developing mini milestones, ensuring we have quick decisions that get made as low down in the organization as possible, and that we have a culture of constantly shipping value to customers. And we have engineers that are outcome oriented, and they act like product owners, and they're solving end-to-end problems for customers, not just shipping something and walking away. And that probably brings us to say yes before no. A lot of the product areas that we have found product market fit in, I think, have etymologies in us saying yes, to not knowing how we would do it, but trusting that we would be able to figure it out, not just as individuals, but as a company. And certainly, I think in most of the successful organizations I have been a part of, when we set ambitious goals, we're not always sure how we would hit them. That's why they're ambitious. I think if we knew exactly how we would do so, it's probably not ambitious enough. And that comes back to saying yes before no as well, that we want to be challenged. We want to be able to meet the needs of our customers and know that we won't flounder on them. And we might not always know how, but we trust that we are an organization that can adapt quickly, that can aim to do what other organizations might think is impossible. And one of our core tenets for this is simply asking, even internally from our leadership team to on down, why can't we do this? Or why is this not possible in this time frame? And I think that is meant to force us to think creatively. And for us, the constraints that we put up have created situations where we've found solutions that we wouldn't otherwise have found. And that has led to us being able to ship value to customers, having a successful business, and having one that's growing quickly. And we're fortunate to have it. And our values are part of how we will ensure we continue to have it and earn the trust and value from our customers.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Andrew, for chatting with me today.